Welcome to the Bariatric Nutrition Coach podcast, where we empower you with weight loss surgery, nutrition knowledge, mindset advice, and inspiration so you succeed in your weight and health journey. I'm your host, Jane Stoltz, and I am a bariatric dietitian who has helped over 1,300 people on their weight loss surgery journeys. I'm also a solo mum, lover of long walks while listening to podcasts, partial to a glass of wine, and the ocean is my happy place. Join me as I dive deep into bariatric nutrition and lifestyle topics and deliver them to you in bite-sized, palatable episodes every Monday. Now let's go. Hello and welcome to episode 23 of my podcast. And today's episode I have called a Q&A because I have, in my free Facebook community, the Bariatric Nutrition Coach community, I do weekly live trainings, and every so often I do a Q&A session where people in my community submit me questions and I answer them in a live format so people can be on during the live when I'm answering their question, or they can just check out the replay. And this was a really great question that was submitted, and I wanted to talk about it further in my podcast. And the question is, I have noticed I can eat more and feel hungry all the time. Have I stretched my sleeve? And this is such a common question. The person that asked this question was at 8 months post-surgery, but this question can be asked by people. I've had people ask this earlier than that, and even later than that. So that realization or that observation that you can eat more, your portions are getting a bit bigger, you're feeling more of a sense of appetite, you've got more sense of your hunger and fullness cues, and what you're eating is not enough. And that then leads into the hunger being more prevalent. And what I mean by that, what you're eating is not enough, often people feel, and I've had lots of people say this, that they felt or they thought they should keep eating the really small amounts that they were eating in the early days after their surgery for the rest of their life. And that is not the case. And then what people can do, which I have had lots of people share this with me, is very much put on their plate certain amounts of food, measured out, weighed out, and it doesn't change as they move further from surgery. So yes, then there is hunger coming up more often, but also because they're getting further from surgery. And I want to explain a little bit about what's going on, and then we'll dive into that. So let's start and talk about the tool that is bariatric surgery and how it works, and then how things change and evolve over time after your surgery. So when you have your bariatric surgery, and it does depend, there's a whole range of different procedures and there's different ways that they work to help you lose weight. There is restriction, there is non-absorption, so they are the bypass procedures. And then there's also the changes to your anatomy do have impacts on your metabolism and your hunger and fullness hormone levels in your body. So the tool that is bariatric surgery is working at its fullest from day one of surgery. You have the most restriction, and you have pretty much of an instant change to your metabolism where you don't feel as hungry. So the hormones that will lead you to feel hungry much lower body. And if you've had surgery and can remember back to those early days where you don't feel hungry, you don't feel thirsty, you have a couple of bites of food and you feel full, you can't have any more, and it's so radically different to how you ate and how you felt before your surgery. And in those early days, you are not able to eat an adequate amount of food. We need to drink some of our protein, and it can be very challenging for many people to get enough fluid in. And the tool that is bariatric surgery is working at its greatest at that point. Then what happens over time is that toll of your bariatric surgery diminishes or wears off over time. And so over time, you can see that you can eat more and that you also start getting more, generally, you can start feeling more of a sense of your hunger and fullness cues, because those metabolic changes after your weight loss surgery wearing off. If before surgery you had an insatiable appetite and felt like you can never be satisfied, and you have your surgery and you feel a lovely sense of relief, you don't have that desire to eat all the time, it can feel, as the toll of the surgery is wearing off, it can feel a bit scary. And I want to talk about that as part of this discussion, because often people do express fear when they've had a lovely period of lower appetite, but also that restriction, and they have felt a reprieve from their appetite. And when they start noticing it coming back, it can be very scary, and it can be scary because people can feel that they're going to regain their weight. So you have your surgery, you have your restriction, you have your metabolic changes, and then they start wearing off. Now, when do people start getting hungrier after their surgery and start to be able to eat more? Well, it's gradual to some degree, but also it's very variable. And what I mean by that is some people can be, in the early days, say, I feel quite hungry. Other people, it can be well after 1 year after surgery. It does vary. But as a general observation, after working with over 1,500 people over my career in bariatric surgery nutrition, I find that between that 6 and 12 months after surgery is a time where people can really notice that their volumes are increasing and that they can start getting concerned about an increase in intake. I have worked with a surgeon in my career that talked about a natural relaxing of the tummy or the pouch closer to a year after surgery. So I thought that was an interesting comment or observation, and I find it does ring true in my experience as well, and in my observation from working with people, so many people over time. Exactly when it happens is going to be definitely variable for different people. Is it a bad thing to be able to eat more over time? No, it's not. And let me explain why. In the early days, can be such a struggle to reach your protein goals, to drink fluid, all of those things, and get enough fiber in, and it can feel really challenging. The lovely thing that comes with being able to eat more over time is it's a lot easier to reach your protein goals, but then we can also get some of those lovely other foods into your diet at greater volumes: whole grains, fruit and vegetables. And what comes with them is lovely vitamins and minerals, but also fiber. So as you move further from surgery, we can get your diet looking a lot more balanced than it was in the early days. So let's come back to this question. The question is, I'm feeling hungrier, can eat more, have I stretched my sleeve? And for the vast majority of people, the answer is no. What you're experiencing is very normal, it is expected, and there are lovely benefits to it. As I said, you can reach your protein goals, we can get more of those other foods in, and they're all really important for good health. It's expected, it's not an outcome of stretching your sleeve. It is not expected, or your pouch. It is not expected that you would be staying on those very small volumes that you're eating in those first few months after surgery for the rest of your life. Now tell me, is this you? You have had your bariatric surgery and you're feeling lost, you're lacking support, and you don't know what to eat and when. Or you may have noticed after your surgery, your hunger and cravings have started to return and you are scared you won't reach your goals. You may have had some weight regain and you want to stop the weight regain and lose some more weight. You may be pre-surgery and you want support to be fully prepared for your weight loss surgery journey. If any of these sound like you, then listen up. I have developed my Bariatric Nutrition Bootcamp just for you. My coaching program provides education, coaching and community for people getting ready for their weight loss surgery and at every stage after their surgery. There are 4 key areas that I focus on with my clients in my Bariatric Nutrition Bootcamp. One is the Bariatric Nutrition Basics. You will learn what and how to eat so you feel satisfied, reach your protein and fluid goals, and have less cravings, and know how to manage your hunger in the future. Meal ideas and meal planning. You'll learn to plan meals and snacks that you like, so you have great options on hand when it comes time to eat. Also, we focus on mastering weight regain habits, identifying any habits that are stopping you from reaching your goals, and create manageable strategies to get back on the straight and narrow so you can manage your weight for the rest of your life. And also, I focus with my clients in my Bariatric Nutrition Bootcamp on learning to trust your body and food. Start to enjoy your food again by relearning to listen to your body cues so you have less guilt and improve your relationship with food and your body. If you are ready to maximize your weight loss surgery results, feel confident in your journey, and be led with support and expert guidance, then the Bariatric Nutrition Bootcamp is for you. If you would like to know more about my coaching program, check out the link in the show notes. Can people have really high levels of restriction for quite a while and past year? Yes, they can. Can some people in the under 6 months after surgery be able to eat much more than they did in the really early days? Yes, they can. There's a lot of variation between individuals. And I think it's really great to get professional feedback and talk to someone if you're really concerned about this, because it doesn't mean you've stretched your sleeve or pouch. Now, if you have listened to some of my other podcasts, if you're part of my free Facebook community, if you follow me on Instagram, I am really passionate about, I call them weight loss surgery foundation eating habits, because they are eating habits that will not only help you get the best outcomes from your bariatric surgery, but they will also help you keep all the benefits that you get from your surgery. And I want to explain why. So as a bariatric dietitian, in my coaching program, do I help my clients make better food choices? Yes. Reach protein goals? Yes. But another key area that we focus a lot on, the eating habits to set you up for success after your weight loss surgery. And I start educating and coaching on these eating habits from 3 weeks after having surgery. So if I'm working with someone at that stage, once we get onto that pureed stage of food, we are starting to practice the foundation eating habits. I'll cover what I consider the foundation eating habits now, and they include the not drinking before and after having a meal or a snack, small bites, chewing well and eating slowly, stopping eating when you're satisfied, not full, when you're satisfied, and stop eating also if you're not letting your meal go more than 30 minutes long, because we don't want to go into a grazing pattern. Eating regular meals and snacks, and practicing my protein bites ratio, which is 3 bites of protein to 1 bite of other if you're under 1 year after surgery, and 2 bites of protein to 1 bite of other if you're under or over 1 year from surgery. And the other are the whole grains, fruit and vegetables. So that's just a quick snapshot of the foundation eating habits. But I want to talk about why they are so powerful. Habits are not what we consider, or what's the sexy stuff. That's how I put it. People want meal plans, special recipes, and feel that that is going to be the key to their success. And the reality is that it's actually not. Because if it was that simple, we'd just be handing things out and everything would be wonderful. We can hand out meal plans and recipes and then it'd be done. And that desire for meal plans and recipes does come back, I believe, to the dieting culture and most people going to weight loss surgery having dieted for years. So I know why people ask for meal plans and special recipes. But getting success, and when I say success after weight loss surgery, it's getting the most outcomes that you can for your health, for your weight, all of those things comes from eating behaviors. And then once we're rocking along with those eating behaviors, then we focus on food and meal choices. In my coaching program, if I'm working with a client, as I mentioned, even in that week 3 after their weight loss surgery, we are starting to learn and practice these eating habits because they are so powerful and so important. So let me now talk about how this links in with the question. And the question relates to when you notice you can eat more, have greater volumes of food, you feel hungrier, and you're worried you're stretching your sleeve. And as I mentioned, for the majority of people, you haven't stretched your sleeve. But at that point when you can eat more, we want to continue to practice these foundation eating habits because they will ensure that you keep on your weight loss surgery journey. And often you can notice that you're eating more and feeling hungrier when you're still in your weight loss surgery stage. You're still losing weight, and we want to keep that weight loss going. So what are the benefits of these habits when you notice you can eat more and you're feeling hungrier? Well, when you're practicing a protein bites ratio and you're plating your food up and prioritizing your protein, that protein is going to keep you satisfied for longer. When you eat regularly, it's going to help you regulate your appetite. When you have small bites and chew well and eat slowly, you're more likely to stop when you're satisfied and not overeat. And keeping that focus on protein and practicing the other habits ensures that you keep satisfied with a lower intake of energy. Because what can happen also when people get further down the track after their weight loss surgery is they can stop tracking their protein as regularly. Not that you have to track every day, but you want to track your protein intake regularly. And what happens, I have noticed around this time, and it does link in a little bit into why people are hungrier and feel like they can eat more, is that they start eating more high carbohydrate foods and their meals have less protein. And when you're eating more high carbohydrate foods, those foods you can eat in greater volume because they don't fill you up or satisfy you as soon as the high protein foods. And also they don't keep you as satisfied for as long. So sooner after a meal, you feel like you need to eat again. So I find that not only is the tool of your surgery wearing off, which we expect, and that you naturally can eat more, but at the same time, what's happening is people have drifted off that early kind of self-monitoring and drifted off track from all of those, the key behaviors and key things that they often, not all the time, but have learned in the early days. So that combination of factors means, people can start, you may notice that you can, eat more, your weight loss has stopped. And that's a really common challenge that people feel, that they may have stretched their tummy and their weight loss has stopped and can feel really down, feel like a failure. There's so many different emotions that people have expressed to me. And so I think this discussion is really important because it's very much an area that can be improved. It's just that people aren't aware of what's happening. To recap, as I start wrapping up this episode, I wanted to really dive into this really common question of when people can notice, and this may be you may be listening to this saying, yes, Jane, these things you're talking about me, and please know you're not alone. So it's very expected you're going to be able to eat more. It doesn't mean you've stretched your sleeve. But what can compound that feeling of appetite, that realization or observation that you can eat larger volumes, can be that your carbohydrate intake in your diet is kind of edging up, and at the same time your protein intake is drifting down, as well as maybe in the early days you were eating regularly and then you've now started skipping meals, and that was a key habit that you did before surgery. So when all these things come together in your weight loss stage after your bariatric surgery, it can definitely result in your weight loss stopping, okay? And that's not what we want, because we want to get the most out of your bariatric surgery. We want to get the most outcomes when we've got the tool of your surgery working for you. So I hope this makes sense. Please know you can jump into Instagram and ask me questions and reach out. I love hearing from people in my community. I hope I am offering value and giving people value in my podcasts. I think knowing and understanding different parts of the journey after weight loss surgery is so important, and just knowing that people are not alone if you're struggling with something. So I hope this episode is of value. If you do find it of value, I'd love a rating in the podcast. I'd love a review, and I really appreciate you listening to my podcasts. It's really wonderful. I've had some lovely feedback so far, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, and I really look forward to being back in your ears next week.